Welcome to Talking in Stations. I am Matterall. It is April 13th. How you doing, Absterothi?
Greetings, fellow Empyreans. I am Absterothi, and it is an exciting day for a lot of us and a terrifying day for others. How are you?
Doing good. Also with us today is Rundle. How you doing, Rundle?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Hello to fellow pilots of New Eden. I agree with Absterothi. Terrifying and glorious and exciting all in one giant package today.
All right. Well, we'll go through the patch notes today, find out why it's so scary and what's really cool about the new stuff that's come in. We'll look at some of the changes of industry as that starts to roll in, which is exciting. And we'll look at the bugs because there's some funny things, some funny business going on. And later on, we'll talk about player news and so forth. But for now, let's get started with take this top to bottom. We'll do some, well, actually, this is Children of Light. This is a new space phenomena. What is space phenomena, Ash?
Yeah, so the main focus of this patch is beautification of EVE Online. There are a lot of landmarks that were added to the game, a lot of landmarks that were gussied up a little bit, worked on, like reiterated on, and like overall like visual improvements within EVE. I can hear a little bit of an echo, by the way.
That's me. Sorry.
And it's trying to speech jammer me. Yeah, it's okay.
There.
So yeah, the Children of Light is awesome. So the Children of Light is just one of those ones that it's not new, but they did, I believe, renew it, or they revamped it. They made it prettier. That being said, we actually don't know what it looks like right now. Katia Sai posted a really good video and a tweet of what it looked like beforehand, but what I thought was a tweet of the after actually doesn't have it spawned at all, which makes sense because the Children of Light is actually one of the really big mysteries of EVE. Famously, Hydrostatic podcast competition to try to solve what triggers it. And ultimately we failed because it's complex enough, apparently, that we wouldn't be able to just discover it. And ultimately that conquest failed, but that was not after over a year of people trying to figure out how to trigger this phenomenon that's been in the game for forever. But
since 2004,
what causes it to happen versus not? Yeah, I think so. There's a chronicle called Children of Light that kind of tells the story, and it's more or less a ghost story about this lost ship and their crew. And now there's a beacon on the Ionorsta perimeter gate that says Children of Light and is normally just blank, but there is a sequence of conditions that when it occurs causes this big nebulous glow to appear everywhere. And that is the effect that apparently has been updated along with all of the others.
So we have a nice picture of the effect here. Very rare. It's unlikely you'll see it in the game, but somehow it gets triggered. It's just that nobody knows how it's triggered. But there is a full video from Katia Say, the famous explorer of EVE Online, and also the head of Signal Cartel now. And she was sitting out here testing a camera and managed to just catch it from beginning to end, which is incredible. Like, even if someone was lucky enough to see this thing happen, they might see it when it was almost over, because I think it's an 8-minute, 9-minute effect, but happened to be filming right when it started, looking right at the gate, and it's an amazing video. We'll see if we can find that and put it in the links for you.
Yeah, it's quite awesome, and it's an awesome effect. And the whole reason why this was sort of relevant here is that it's related to a person named Mark726, who has a very long running EVE blog called EVE Travel, who has written a very amazing EVE lore Bible, or I think it's called a primer. No, I called mine the primer. I think he called his something else. Either way, it is probably the single best tome to read front to back to understand the breadth of the Eve story. But also on Eve Travel, he's gone to basically almost every single landmark and interesting site in Eve Online and has documented his journeys. And this is relevant because, and CCP has coyishly confirmed that this is no mistake, that the Iron Ursta, the Children of Light update happened at the same time as another landmark that was put in. So we should probably talk about all of the landmarks that were actually put in today, and we can get into why they mentioned Children of Light, even though it was kind of a side thing comparatively. But if we start at the end, there's a curious one. All of these other ones, we have New Eden. There's one in Stain. There's one in various different places in Nullsec, and we'll get to each one of them. But one of them stands out as being somewhat odd to me. In fact, I had to tweet about it to find out. It's Mozzit, Mozzidit, Mozzidit.
What a name.
Has no remarkable reference in the lore, has no visible anomaly that I saw. What's so special about it? What's so special about it is that this is the home system of Mark 726. So now Mark 726 has a landmark in the game, the New Eden Travel Agency, complete with Professor Science in a shuttle ready to help people out in his home system, which is a low-sec system. So be careful when you go and visit. Genesis. But I just think that is just the darnest coolest thing. CCP has several landmarks that CCP has put out recently. Kriba got a landmark in Amar for his Veldnot. Kadiasai, obviously,
was it actually
has their own monument.
Was it actually called Kriba, the statue, or?
I think it's called the Kriba Monument.
I wonder if it's clearly labeled him. The Katya one is Katya, right? That's named after Katya. The Kriba one is probably named Kriba, but this one's a little coy in that it doesn't name Mark 726 by name, but we know it's him. Right. So he got a statue for all his great lore work.
But Professor Science, his character, is there, sort in a way. So that is, it's a way of CCP acknowledging over a decade of work in EVE Online, and so he is actually the reason why Hydrostatic went after the Children of Light story, because in his telling of the landmark, he points out that he's never seen it before, and to this day, he's never seen it before. And I say that after 6 to 8 months of trying to discover how to solve it. So not only was he trying everything, but he was there a lot, and he is still yet to ever see the Children of Light himself. And so it is definitely a bit of a here you go, Mark, enjoy your new monument. Also, screw you, Children of Light, you still haven't seen it. So it is what it is.
This to be an explorer.
Well, but each of these monuments have varying amount of history, and a lot of them are actually visual things that have supposed to be there, but weren't necessarily able to be represented properly until now. And we showed it off last week, but and we could probably show that video again too if you wanted to.
Yeah, is that from the news story, right? The same video. It's about 2 minutes long, right? Yeah,
actually, you could just play that one.
Yeah, they republished it in the news article today. Because they had a separate news article for these landmarks,
right? Yeah.
It wasn't just in the patch notes, so it's some really nice screenshots, and this just almost 2-minute video is actually very nice. And they do show this new little in Mozzidit section, that new landmark there. They show it in the video as well, but there's still an unknown landmark, right? So they tease us in the patch notes today and say there's yet another landmark that is yet to be discovered. And I don't think it's this one. Yeah. I think it's yet another one.
That pull of Radiance?
Right. So as of right now, we do not know where the hidden site is. I had a couple of guesses, and I know that there are a couple of people that are actively hunting to figure out what the sites are, or what this site is. What I can confirm is it isn't the Battle of Akatioth site. It isn't. I don't believe it's the Eve Travel Agency, because both of those are listed in the list. But the other thing he mentioned in his tweet to me was he said that has a global beacon. I'm not 100% sure what he means by a global beacon, whether or not that means it's a landmark that can be seen on the thing, or whether or not that means that it's something that's visible in space to everyone, or if this is so hidden that it has to be scanned down or found in some other way, like a visual that's in space but not having any kind of indicator that we could use to hunt it down. It's unclear right now. All we know is that there is allegedly at least one site that is not listed and that we haven't found yet. And so if anybody wants to correct me on that, I'd be very interested. Like I said, I know a few people and there are organizations that are actively hunting for it right now. I assume that CCP Valamir points out that global beacon usually is a term that means that it is on the overview automatically, like a landmark. But that's my point. I assume that that's correct. But if that's true, then that means that he's suggesting that this hidden site doesn't have one of those. So then the question would be, how would you find it? Would it be a visual in space that doesn't require hunting, like say the Eve Gate was, or was, or is it something that needs to be scanned down or triggered in some other way? So, but I think that we have really rushed ahead of ourselves. We have already talked about a lot of these landmarks. We have,
I kind of,
but I can pull up here. We have. It's okay. So just to get an idea of the scope, we have the Eve Gate, which is in the Genesis region over here, or sorry, in Genesis region, right? Yeah. Eve Gate is, of course, where we all came from. It's the big, shiny, yellow, white, glowy thing that's in the videos. Next is the Trace Cosmos. The Trace Cosmos is that purpley wormholes ripping apart. And that is up here in Solitude, which is a high-sec island, one of the most famous high-sec islands. So it's relatively dangerous to get to. Next, we have the Core to the Elements, which is visible. I believe it's supposed to be visible in multiple systems, but the heart of it is right here in Syndicate. It's like it's that big, long, multiple, or no, that was the Core to the Elements. I'm not sure if I remember the Core to the Elements' image. Do we have it pulled up? Landmarks, Core to the Elements. Oh yeah, Core to the Elements is like, I'm right. The Core to the Elements is the long one with it looks like almost multiple beads strung together. Next would be the Pool of Radiance, which is, we'll probably talk about this a little bit more. One of the things that's really important to pay attention to in the story right now is Sanchez Nation. They are white hot. And in fact, even in this, they mentioned Sanchez specifically, I believe. And the Pool of Radiance is potentially a very important location that wasn't previously in the game that relates directly to how important Sanchez Nation may in fact be. So it's a pretty staggering blue wormhole that's really cool. And then Old Man Stargate, we showed this off a couple weeks ago. Old Man Star is a very dangerous system. So just jumping in from Valor into Old Man Star, not the best idea. But if you come in from the other direction, you might be able to get your eyes on the Old Man Stargate. Old Man Star has a chronicle based around it that tells the story about how it was made. And because of that, it has a very unique construction, and you can see the wreck of the ship. And I think that they've also added little drones flitting about it and working and stuff like that. So it's really cool. It's got a unique gate. And then the Battle of Akatioth, which happened in Atioth, which is right here in Geminate. This is famously where the Amar and the Jovian came into conflict with one another, and the Jovian absolutely destroyed the Amar. This event is what led to the Mimitar Rebellion, and it is accused to have been basically manipulated by the Enheduani to cause it to happen. So if you go there now, you can see the wreckage of the Jovian Observatory that was there. There's some Jovian frigates that were destroyed, as well as the Amarian fleet.
There's also a chronicle
And then, of course,
associated with that, right?
Yes, the Battle of Akatioth. But this is actually like the Battle of Akatioth. If you think about it, like in the earliest days of EVE canon, the Battle of Akatioth was kind of seen as like the seminal incident, right? This was the triggering event. It's what broke the Amar. It's what caused the Lumimitar Rebellion, which eventually caused the Jove to create Concord. It is the event when you opened up the manual and read the story of EVE Online. It starts with, effectively one of the main first events is the Battle of Akatioth. So. There's a chronicle about it. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So yeah, these new landmarks are all added into the game, and as well, there's also some new visual effects to Caroline Star, which is W477 TAC-P, which is most of the time to most people's galactic northeastish area, depending on where you are. If you're already in the northeast, it might be more to the west. Who knows? But either way, this star blew up a long time ago, or in 2015. And while it doesn't look very different right now, they did change the effect. And more importantly, basically, if you want to think about it this way, they changed the effect from the old system to whatever this new system is. So they removed the old Caroline Star and put this new Caroline Star in its place using whatever this new effect system or whatever this system iteration is. So it doesn't actually look any different at this point, except for in very specific angles. But who knows what they might do with it later.
It looks a little bigger, though, doesn't it? I heard it looks a little bigger.
Yeah, in general, it's a little bit bigger than before, but it's like universally bigger. So it doesn't look like it's like proceeded to explode any further. It's not an advancement in any way.
Right.
It just looks like it was visually overhauled a little bit. There's also the cloud around it is a little bit more worked out. So that is the landmarks. I see why you went with the Children of Light first. That is funny that they put that one first. Anywho, in addition to that, actually, they also they updated the Federation Grand Prix. So not this last event that just ended today, which was the hunt, but the event before that, which was the Federation Grand Prix, which celebrated Federation Day, the foundation of the Galente Federation. In that, they had 3 different circuits where you could race around. And once you were done with the first time you did it, you were offered the opportunity to go again. But when you went again, you were timed. And the top 10 people from each lap are now etched into the Grand Prix landmark, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I have to say, one of my corp mates made it on the eastern leg. He's number 3. Congratulations, DPR. Well done. A little plug for him. He's the only one I met who's making it. But so I'm sure there's obviously 30 or 40 who's making it, but I know one at least. Yay, little fame for me.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because it's one of those things that as long as you don't have, you're not held back by like skills or something like that. Like if somebody really dedicated themselves to putting themselves on one of these leaderboards, the fact that it was a short time and there were effectively 30 positions, 3 different races to compete on, meant that it really had an opportunity for people that put their mind to it to at least get somewhere on the leaderboard.
Yeah, sorry, I guess it was cool. 3 legs, not 4. Sorry, so like 30. And it was quite involved. Like he had involved a jump freighter, jump cloning, all sorts of things. Interceptors that are speed tanked or sped up as much as possible. Yeah, all over the place, right? All sorts of stuff. It was quite an intensive few minutes for him. He told me, and his preparation that went into it was days. It took days to get himself all organized.
The route is specific, and most of the links are rather really close to each other, like only 3 jumps away. So there's only a couple places where you could really cheese it in order to get an advantage. And even then, as you pointed out, it probably takes way more work than you actually get out of time. But it's a competition. So it's whoever manages to bend space and time the best to make it so that they get to all of the checkpoints faster wins.
Yep.
And then the hidden landmark, which we talked about. Anybody has any other information, let me know. In addition to that, also, and I haven't gotten a chance to look at this, the hacking structures, apparently now there are different equipment in like Relic and data site, I assume data sites, for you to hack based on the race. So like hacking a site in Amar will look different than hacking a site in Galente, or at least the stuff that you're hacking will look different. Again, there's a lot of effort being put into CCP to flesh out the world building and flesh out a lot of these visuals, which I find very interesting, especially the racial differences. Roaming Triglavian fleets will now be less aggressive with their choice of target locations within known space systems. I read this word for word because if I understood it enough to be able to translate it into my own words, I would have done so.
You're talking like a robot.
Oh. Yeah. No, I tried to figure this one out. Sorry. Am I here?
Yeah.
Yep. You're a little choppy. You're getting a little bit of chop.
So I tweeted out to try to get clarifications on this. I tweeted out to try to get clarification on this. I don't think I've gotten a really firm answer. Basically, is that systems that connected to Poshvin via wormhole, which is usually systems that are in close proximity, i.e. 2 or 3 jumps from one of the systems that were taken to Poshvin. When those wormholes are open, Triglavian rats spawn in those systems and wander around and go and kill things. And, famously, this is why, like every couple of weeks, freaks out about, oh my God, the Triglavians are invading perimeter again. It's because perimeter is close enough to a lot of systems, so it gets connected to wormholes fairly, frequently enough to make Triglavians on the gate. And if you've never fixed your standings with the Triglavians, they could get you. So I don't know if this means that they're reducing how aggressively the wormholes spawn. I don't know if this means attack faster once they see a target that they're interested in. I don't know if this means that they warp around more frequently. I don't know what less aggressive means.
Because
they're less aggressive now.
This is a big deal for people who are in industrials or freighters, or people who are hauling stuff, auto piloting, for instance, that run across these spawns by a gate. You can get killed very close to Jita, and that's, that can really wreck somebody's day, since that's a major trade hub. I imagine, and this is just a guess, that there is some delay before they target, and something like that. So if you're piloting, you can get through, but if you're autopiloting, maybe you can't. I don't know. That would be my guess.
That would be my guess as well. The number one complaint about all of the rats is how fast they lock. Right. Because it's not just when there's actually a pack on the gate. It's not.
They insta lock. Like, you don't get a choice.
It's not a freighter issue.
Yeah, no evasive action like we covered Sunday. You're just caught and killed. So it was pretty instant.
Right. And it says that they're less aggressive with their choice of target locations within known space systems. So it makes me wonder whether or not Trig will no longer. They may just no longer go to the gates at all anymore.
Yeah, because that was a deadly combo.
No 0.9, 1.0 security space anymore. Maybe would they go that route? It'll be interesting to see how they've decided to fix this.
Yeah, Hateless agrees, and he's pretty versed in this, that maybe they're not on those gates, and that makes a lot of sense.
Right. I don't want to report anything.
That's not
true. If it's speculation, I want to report it as speculation. Okay, so right now, the patch note is roaming Triglavian fleets will now be less aggressive with their choice of targets locations within known space systems, and that's all we know.
Yeah.
When I get more information, I'll let you know.
Yeah, Sunday we'll let you know what we found out. But as of today, nobody knows for certain. We're just guessing that they're off the gates and they don't trap you as fast.
That being said, I'd like to remind everyone that it is actually relatively easy to fix your standings with either the Triglavians or both the Triglavians and Edencom, depending on how much effort you're willing to go through. It doesn't take that much, and it's a one-time thing. So that's always cool. Either way, moving on, the big thing today is, of course, the industry changes. So it's important to note that this is not the whole big changes, okay? If you built a battleship yesterday, or if you could build a battleship yesterday with your BPC, you can build it with the exact same mats today. That didn't change at all. That's later. What happened today is all of the blueprints that were, and people are already getting ready to correct me, I'll get to it. all of the blueprints that are going to be necessary for the new stuff that will be required to build things like faction equipment, battle cruisers, battleships, and capitals. Those were all added to the game today. Now, yeah. However,
doing good, Ash.
under known issues, pretty much the majority of these blueprints aren't seeded yet. I've tried to look for some patterns. I've talked to some people. It looks like
the list. Yeah,
a lot of the.
I can help you real quick here. The reactions are mostly seeded, but not all. There is a post by a CCP dev with the list. The racial trigger Neuralink conduit blueprints are seeded, but none of the other construction components. So there's different types of recipes going in. There's construction components, which are your standard components. Capital construction blueprints, none of those are seeded. None of the advanced capital construction are seeded. Then you get to the reactions. All the molecular forge reactions, those are seeded. And then you get to the composite reaction. 3 out of 5 are not seeded, 2 of them are. And so really out of the whole list, they got about half done, maybe, being a little generous. There's the mix. CCP Trash Mob did post this and confirmed a list that was put together by George Magvasi. He confirmed that, and he said, yep, sorry, our bad. Sorry about that. And he confirmed that list was correct.
Right. And so the most important thing to note about this is that this is referred to as a known issue. So chances are this is going to be fixed tomorrow. So if the basic stuff, the stuff to build the stuff, that stuff you can already do right now. Those blueprints were already seeded. The basic reactions, the stuff to get your R4 products started to process. Tomorrow, to build the stuff with the stuff that you just made. Wow, that was supposed to be either way. That stuff will be available by tomorrow, probably.
So people can actually get started today on
blueprints, especially.
Oh, we're having
the
terrible
basic
lag.
stuff, the baseline stuff.
Yeah, if you're going to get into reactions, you can pick up those BPs right now, and you could start doing those. There's those racial components. You could get those. I think I looked at them. They're 40 million a pop. You could get those, and you could start doing your material and time. I just forgot the name for not the invention, where you make the material. Go ahead.
Research?
Yeah, the research. Thank you.
Research.
That's what I was looking for. Brain fart. So you can do your material research and your time research. And looking at it, you have to go to ME10 to even get a bump on the material input. So only those people who are super min-max about their recipes will want to take the time. It's somewhere in around 14, 17 days, I think, for most skilled players.
Wait,
get that.
Did you say
ME10.
You're not talking about researching reactions, are you?
No, I'm talking about the racial components.
We'll get to that.
Yep. Just because, I'll let Ashrashi cover that. But those are the only actual component blueprints that got seeded. They're 40 million a pop, and ME10 is the only one that actually moves the material at all. So you have to go all the way to the end, and then time is time, and you can figure that out as your own. So ME research. You'll have to decide if you really want to undertake it or not.
The best advice here is just to print a bunch of copies of that, then stick it in for research. That way you can work off the copies while your research is kicking in if you want to get to 10.
Right. Because you can get on top of the market, build a bunch before others build it while you're doing your research, and then get your gain of the 1 unit of the input, each of the inputs later on for your min-max price. For your pricing.
Well, research now so that when they actually change the battleship build requirements, you have fully researched BPOs.
You could do that.
Well,
too.
no, the issue is that if the material efficiency doesn't make that much of a difference. Let's talk about a couple of caveats here. So researching obviously takes time and has diminishing returns and whatnot. And these things don't take very long to research anyways. So if you wanted to research it today, you'll be able to research it before you need to start cranking out stuff and building it to build the next stuff. But more importantly, a lot of the stuff that's being introduced into the game are reactions. And actually an unfortunate bug right now where these reactions are showing researched is that you don't actually research reactions. So this is actually another one of the known issues that hopefully will get fixed today. So all of the reactions are non-research. The only things that you need to research is the end products. So once again, if there's not just one step to the process now, there are multiple reaction tiers, and then you build things off of those reactions or off of the stuff that you get from those reactions, and then you put that stuff into battleships and battle cruisers, etc. And so you can start doing the reactions, and that's all fine. Everything's totally fine when it comes to like the base tier 0. I have Moon Goo and I need to start building battleships with it. It can be started today, and all of the missing pieces that are still missing but will be introduced hopefully tomorrow. And then the actual battleship changes itself, or the manufacturing changes themselves, won't be available until at least next week, if not longer. Does that help clear things up?
Well, the bottom line is if you're panicking, don't panic. You could still do what you need to do to get a jump on the market. There are some bugs, sure. They're going to be fixed by tomorrow. Don't panic. Right. It'll be fine.
Yeah, this is the preparation period. The whole point of this is to get all of these things out there and get, people in their pipelines and give you time to get the blueprints in the correct places and to research them and to figure out what you're going to do and pre-build some components. It does mean is, of course, switching from one race's equipment to another race's equipment may be more complicated than it was before in the end. And this is a big part of it. It also means that if some reason that you've been mining Moon Goo in HiSec for the last several months and getting only or in wormholes and getting crappy R4 stuff and saying like, oh my God, when is this ever going to be useful? Your time is now. Find yourself a wormhole or a low sec or null sec system and get yourself to some reactions, because I have R4 goo, but everybody needs the stuff that comes out of it, and you can't do reactions in HiSec. So if you have a place to do reactions, right now is a good idea to be turning R4 goo into these components that people are going to need.
Yeah, CCP
Don't panic, prepare.
CCP Psych did come on to the new industry channel, which we put up last week. He came on here onto the Talking in Stations Discord, and he did say all blueprint reaction seeding issues should be resolved by tomorrow. So that's confirmed. As long as they don't have any problems or any push problems or anything like that. So that's we got to wait one day. So the memes started, however. There was a few memes that kicked in. There was
like I said, but the way that the production chain goes, though, you can still have the blueprints ready by the time you actually need them if you start reactions today.
Just throwing that out there. Anywho, Hunter 135. Oops, I replied to the wrong guy. Hunter 135 says, "Is this on the test server or is this live?" I think we should make that clear.
Very much live. This is live. Yeah, this is live. The seeding of the blueprints for the upcoming industry changes started today, and we are talking about a small little mistakes were made. And about half of the blueprints and some of the reactions did not get seeded as planned. So that is live. Good question.
Actually, to make that more specific, today is one of those very rare days that I open up Hobo Leaks and it shows me the difference between Sissy and Tranquility, and it says 0 changes found. There's right now no difference between Sissy and Tranquility, because basically yesterday they staged today's patch. So they're identical mirrors right now.
All right, Ash, what else we got?
Yeah, we good to move on. All right, so we got implemented a survey integration with the character selection screen. Keep your eyes open for exciting and rewarding survey opportunities launching soon. CCP has been working really, really hard. Yep, they've been working on their MPE. They've been working on feedback mechanics. They put in the like button. This is this is just more of the same. Like they are very interested in understanding the people that are not us on talk shows telling people what everybody thinks about EVE Online,
or CSM,
which is a very important effort.
Yeah.
Or wherever. Yeah.
No, it's good to give to get to the players, get to the ordinary man in EVE, and ask him, "Are you enjoying the game? What do you like? What's scaring you?" Those sorts of things, and let's stop the hysteria that goes on in this metasphere that we deal with and stuff. But I do like how they couch that survey opportunities. I think that's pretty funny.
They also said rewarding. So this goes back. They have actually seeded a new set of skins today that looks like they're associated with like not bug, but like bot reporting, essentially. But at the same time, like they launched the scope syndication skin to help out that, and they have another one that is in the same sort of vein that people assumed were associated with streamers, but maybe associated with this. They may end up like giving away special skins if you respond to their surveys.
Great idea. Incentivize it.
All right. User interface. Added a feature which allows the minimized solar system map to maximize when reopening the probe scanner window. Okay, cool. Added a feature that shows the structure type in search results. Added the ability to unlock all targets via a target list anchor or shortcut. This is kind of cool.
That's a good one.
So you have, let's say you're in a Triglavian minor victory and you're farming, or let's say you're in Poshvin and you happen to have a structure and you're farming the drifters, or you're outside just shooting at them with your character. And suddenly you want to be able to be tethered again. You need to unlock everybody. Well, you can unlock them all individually, or you can just hit this and boop, you're now tethered. This doesn't work with players. Don't try it with players. But yeah, so there's lots of opportunities.
Wait, there's a second. Can I just put through? Maybe I'll hand it to Rundle, but put through a second scenario, because a lot of people, when they do fleets, sometimes the FC will say clear targets.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm super happy.
Clear all locks.
Exactly. I've already bound this action. It is bindable to a key. I picked U for unlock, as original as I am, and I've already done that. And it's going to absolutely get use in the fleet when the FC says, unlock all semis, unlock all targets, free fire on tornadoes or whatever, right? And you got 4 or 5 semis lined up, or whatever the other ships are that you're shooting. And you want a quick way to unlock them. I mean, this is going to be fantastic. Hit one button, boom, they're unlocked, move on to the next set of targets. It'll certainly speed up gameplay.
The thing that I think is important to note about this, because, discussing it outside of the context of actually doing it, you think about it as like, I have to unlock 6 things. I just, control shift click down the line. They're all gone. Cool. But the problem is that as the client isn't that responsive. Each one of those takes, a second or like a little bit of time to acknowledge. If you do it too quick, you might skip one, that kind of stuff. And so this process is not nearly as clean as you would think they are. And anything that allows you to perform an action faster, to be ready faster, is going to be extremely beneficial to those who use it.
Yeah. So the control shift clicking to unlock it, in a bubble, it's meaning in a just looking at that function alone. Sure, you can say I can control shift click, but I'm usually busy with my mouse and control clicking on the new targets coming in, or getting ready to do that, or trying to do a sort, or try to find the new targets, or look on the broadcast list, or whatever. I'm usually busy with my left hand and my mouse doing something else. So for me, I just now have to just literally lift my hand, reach over, hit you, and then carry back on, have my mouse where I probably need it and want it, as opposed to having to move it, finding the control shift, unlocking these things, and maybe misclicking, or what I normally do, I normally somehow click and drag a target from like slot 1 over to slot 3 instead of like I just change the order. I do something silly like that because I'm trying to click so fast, I actually click drag. So I just do shit like that happens, and you lose a little bit of momentum and a little bit of mental flow, and it's annoying as fuck. So hitting one button now, I'm super stoked about this. One
read
tiny
comments,
little
Rundle.
UI change.
There's
What's
one,
that?
There's read comments. There's one there for you. Also, Elderic P says, in big tie-dye fights, this is going to be a godsend. All right.
Yeah, the rectangle. I always forget about the damn rectangle. I use the rectangle for targeting sometimes. I did it the other day, and I locked up five of my team by locking up 5 of my of the semis in the fleet. Whoops, my bad. Sorry for locking friendly bros. My bad.
Target drones with the collection rectangle.
Yeah, I was trying to target fighters, and I accidentally brought my rectangle a little too big. I was zoomed out a little too far, and I targeted a bunch of the healers. I think they were actually Bazzies and Ospreys, actually, who I targeted. So it didn't mean to scare the crap out of them. They don't normally like it when blues start targeting them back.
So rather than take the bait, I'm going to just move on to the next one. Everyone, hands up if you have ever attempted to link a fit. Somebody's like, "Oh yeah, what fit are you in?" And you link it, and they're like, "Hey, that's the ship, not the fit." Okay, good. We've all done it. Good. That's
Absolutely.
now fixed. If you drag a ship from your like item window or from your selected items window into a chat, it will actually link the ship fit rather than the ship type now. So we can all stop looking like idiots to our friends. Yay!
And
All
the
those
crowd all
hands going up.
cheers.
I can probably still find ways to look like an idiot.
I'm sure I can too.
As CCP said before, people will still do dumb things, but at least it won't be our fault. Added several new help pointers and improved messaging on why pointers might not be displayed. That's kind of cool. I know that somebody was pointing out that there's now a new indicator that tells you that you should get your uncollected items or whatever. So the red dot now has a friendly blue box to go along with it. But basically, this just helps them to point to various different UI elements to allow people to get accustomed to the game. One of my favorite things actually is that if you go up into the Neocom menu and then go down to utilities, I'm going to partially cover this, and then go all the way to the bottom to the pointer window. There's actually a window with every single UI element or almost every UI element in the game. And you can drag and drop these into a chat to link it to somebody. And if you click here, it'll actually like point you to
Just
where
like
to
that.
get it. So boom, just like that. So that's cool. If I click on it again, oh, look, it'll tell me it's here.
Yeah.
And
So this is
on
made
and so
for
forth.
advanced players to give information to a new player without having to describe where to go. They drop that little ticket or little, I don't know what you would call that, bookmark into text. They click on it and it shows them with a graphic animation what you're talking about. So it's for tutoring younger pilots. Now, where can they find that? Where can advanced players find that?
Once again, if you go to the Neocom menu and then go down to utilities, which is the bottom of the folders, and then all the way to the bottom of that is the pointer window. And honestly, if I'm on a stream or if I'm helping out somebody and they don't know where a certain UI element, they're like, "Where's the fleets?" I'll actually give them directions to the pointer window and then tell them that they can search for whatever UI element that they want to in the filter, and then they can use that to point to where they want.
Oh, that's a good one.
Teach a man to fish.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Okay, so next I have added a buy and fit button to the multi-fit window as fit fails to apply a fitting to a ship. This is actually really awesome. So if you have a fit ready to go and you want to buy it, or if you want to fit it, you can hit the fit ship button. A list of all of the items that you still don't have to fit the ship, and then you could hit buy, and then that would pull up the market, and then you'd be able to buy it all right there. Or no, it wouldn't buy, it would pull up multi-buy, and then you'd hit buy all, and then you'd buy it all, and then you'd have it. But then you'd have to go back and hit fit ship again, and it would use all that new stuff that you just got and fit it. This fixes that. So now I have a doorbell and I have to go check that. But this makes it so that one button will not only buy all the stuff, but then complete the fitting process. I'll be back.
Wow.
All right. So they added an NPC icon to the target that is also shown in the overview. So that lets you know that the target is, I guess, an NPC. I'd be interested to see what that looks like. And there's another one that I'm actually super excited about, where they added the option inside the game now to include jump bridges in your route when you're using the autopilot feature.
That is a huge change.
For nullsec people, yeah. This can be toggled on and off in the autopilot options. It does not mean you have to engage autopilot. You just go to your autopilot. So most people don't even realize they're interacting with the entire autopilot when you set a destination and you go there, and if you were to left click on the A and it brings up the menu of options, you're playing with the entire autopilot feature. Even though you might not enable the autopilot to manually or to autopilot you places, but that whole thing is called the autopilot. So enormous if you're in NPC space. I tested it out today. It works fantastic. Turned an 18 jump route into 7 jumps, and it just took me where I needed and right to the jump gate, and on I went.
This is only for people who have access to jump bridges in nullsec, the only place you can build them. So for
That's
everybody else, it doesn't really matter. But for them, it's a big change.
Yes.
Right. So basically, the short of it is that if you set a destination, the route that is calculated by the game or by your client now takes into account player jump bridges that you have access to. Pretty simple. It's a big change.
It's so simple. That's why we explained it 3 times. But they got it.
It's a big deal. But it's something that, like, if people that don't live in nullsec, they may not quite understand A, why that's important, or B, even what it practically means. So it was good to go over either way. And then the only other thing that I have here for user interface stuff is that an NPC icon was added to the target, which is also in the overview. I think that means that now you see under the target, when you lock something, you see its ship type. But I also think that was what it was like yesterday. So I am having a complete hysterical fit when it comes to that patch note.
Anybody
trying
know?
to understand exactly what it means.
If you know, write it in chat.
Yeah, if you know, write it in chat, please. Okay. Fix an issue where users couldn't claim Omega daily rewards. Cool. Fix an issue that caused signature radius suppressor passive bonuses to work while the module was offline. Unfortunate, but that's a new module, so that's kind of the thing that happens. Fix capitalization error on 4.4. Let's see. Anything else that is,
by the way, if you read chat,
juicy?
You're correct in your assumption. It puts the ship type in red under your target lock.
Excellent. Fixed an issue with the tracking computer's audio increasing over time after activation. That's super handy. Although, from my understanding, I can hear the gate sound everywhere bug is still in effect. So, not great there. I think. Am I missing anything else?
They fix a number of the load things, and so they don't say it outright here, but I was going to say, there's a number of alliances, a number of corps who cannot edit their in-game channel message of the day. There was a bug back from blackout time, and I think the story I hear still is that they're not quite sure how to replicate it, therefore they can't replicate it, therefore they can't fix it. But a number of these, I'm just guessing, this total opinion, a number of these technical fixes, though, kind of seem to fix things in terms of the user interface and in terms of some of the technical stuff in terms of text and fixing windows and ticker suggestions and edit location windows and a bunch of stuff like that. I would just say if you have one of these problems, give it a try. You never know. They might have fixed it, the background, or something got changed with a fix like this, because they do seem to have touched a lot of UI elements and a lot of back-end elements in relationship to this. So, give it a try. If you're a CEO or you run an alliance, it's going to take you 2 minutes to find out whether it got fixed or not, or less.
And if it doesn't work, submit a bug report. Another one.
Another one, yep.
Say it still isn't working.
Yep.
Seriously, like that's not even being facetious. That is, I'm pretty sure CCP would tell you the same thing, because the more of those are just data points that they can use to further understand the problem.
Okay, Riley Sharkey Reese, what a name! What a name! He tells us that dragging into chat links the ship itself, not the fitting. It basically gives you the ship name and the insurance policy. That's all. We were talking about that earlier, so
okay,
get to the bottom of that one.
Well, let's I've got local. A ship here. I can post it. And yep, it's just that. So what did they mean?
Maybe it just doesn't
selected
work
items.
and they intend to do it.
Is it where you drag it from your inventory over? Is that what it means from the selected item window? Or now link the ship dragged rather than the ship type.
Well, yeah. CCP is setting me up for failure. That's all I know. It's fine. We'll figure it out. So I guess that isn't what it means. It means something. Thank you for that correction.
I took it to mean like from your inventory, from your hangar. If you grab the ship and drag it into chat, what it used to do is just link the ship type. When you have a fully fitted ship sitting in the hangar and you want to drag it to your friend, like, hey, this is what I'm about to fly. Check it out. Build one of these, and it's just a ship that shows up. That's what I thought it means, but you tried something different, right?
So just so that
normally you drag from the top up there, right?
Right. Normally, so the proper way to do this, if you want to get it to work right, is that you pull the name from the top left of your fitting window. That will actually link the real fitting, right? But if you pull it from here, or no.
Hateless says the dude talking here is right. I think he's referring to Rundle.
The dude talking. I'm the dude.
You're
Thanks,
the
Hateless.
dude
This
talking.
is Rundle. Yep.
I just did it. Okay, so this might be what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I have an active ship. This name right here. If I grab this part here, that's now the fit. Except for that didn't. Hold on.
Gotcha.
If I grab this fit, oh my God. Don't do it this way, apparently.
I'm going to have to try to see if it's from the hangar
never mind. I did it once and now it's.
Yeah, I saw you do it once.
I don't know, man.
All right, shake it off, Ash. Let's move on.
That's all right.
That got solved. Yeah. It's partially.
It's all right. It's all right. They gave me buy and fit. That's all I needed. So this was just extra.
All right.
Wait, one last piece of advice. As soon as you made it a separate window,
else that we want to cover for the day.
Sorry. As soon as you made it a separate window, when you drag it from there, it's just the whole description. Okay, that seems rife with like problems. But go ahead.
The truth is that if you open up your fitting and then you grab the name from the top left of the fitting, that is the correct way to link a fit in EVE Online. Until this patch note has some sort of better resolution, that's what I'm going to stick with. Keep working on it, I guess, CCP. Either way, let's see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, I definitely wanted to get your thoughts on the native Mac client playtest.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
starts in 2 days, right? 2 days and runs for, if I do my math right, about 6 days.
So
there's been a lot of people asking about this, especially with the release of EVE Everywhere. People were like, "Well, what about the Mac client?" And this is about the Mac client.
For those
so, person who cares about the Mac client, tell me about it.
For those that don't know the history of EVE Online, it's always had a Linux client and a Mac client. They were using Wine, which is a type of wrapper that wraps the code and then is able to translate it for the other operating system. So it wraps Windows code and it translates it for Linux or Unix-based stuff like Apple OS, basically. So that's always been a problem because sometimes EVE Online will upgrade its graphics or something, and then the Wine wrapper will need to catch up. And it's worked pretty well, but it's always been this kind of workaround. So this is one of the first times that I've seen a company say, yeah, we're going to endorse Mac OS. We're going to build code right for it. And they have. What you'll be playing if you do this test that they're going to do in a couple of days is you'll be working with basically a client for Mac native in Rosetta if you're using a M1 chip, which is different because Apple right now is between chipsets, right? It used to use Intel chip for a long time. Well, they've just changed it to their own chip called the M1. So there's been a wave of computers and laptops that have come out with the M1 chip. That requires a different kind of architecture. But in order to keep people whole with their past software, they have this thing called Rosetta that translates old software to the new chip. And it works really well. So if you test, you're going to be testing stuff that's made for the Intel chip on Mac in Rosetta form. And it should work well. We're going to find out what the bugs are. Now, here's the thing. If you have an M1 chip computer now, which would just be a laptop or a Mac Mini, that's the only thing available right now. We suspect that the Mac, what do they call it? The desktop version is going to have its M1 chip debut this spring. So it's coming out soon. That is coming as well from CCP. You're going to have a native client for the M1 chip down the road, which would be pretty cool. So they're not giving up on Macintosh. That is a great development for people like me.
Yeah. So what's the problem with running it on Wine? Why not just? I mean, like, what's the problem with the solution as it exists?
Wine is usually. Actually, I would have to look into it, but it's because it's simulating, and I think, or translating, or whatever. You have software inside a software working on an operating system. When you code for it to be native, I think you benefit from like less bugs in it because I think the like for instance the Wine thing doesn't work with M1. For instance, I can't play EVE on Mac right now. But there are other problems.
Okay.
Wine.
There you go.
Yeah. It's just it's like outsourcing.
Yeah. I always knew that it was like less stable. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little miracle.
It's running basically a virtualized client.
Wine is a little miracle, but it doesn't work for everything and it doesn't work 100% well. And then you have all kinds of different troubleshooting you have to do. And you don't know if it's the client for Mac, if it's the client or if it's Mac OS Wine, translation. So there's a lot of like room for bigger headaches. So making it right for the client, I think they can. It's a big. Here's the thing. I asked the executive producer of EVE Online, Man Buren. I said, "Are you going to create?" We had an interview with him when he first got the job with Berger and with Orca. The three of them are basically the top of the stack when it comes to EVE Online. We had them interviewed as soon as they got the job, and we said, "Is there still going to be a Mac client?" And Man Buren was basically said, that's a real question because that takes a lot of resources. And my interpretation of that was no more Mac clients. But EVE Online has really benefited from having that cachet of being a game you can play on Linux or a game you can play on Mac because those are Unix based. And that's very like, I don't know, futuristic and forward thinking because that's so worldwide, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm glad they're keeping with it. I think it has some cachet beyond just utility.
I agree. What I find interesting about this is that CCP has had a lot of concern about technical debt, right? So it's one of the reasons why a lot of features have been removed in the past. It's the reason why certain things have been like not really or looked at in certain or not moved forward on, I should say. It's why they've done a lot of streamlining because the game has gone on for a long time, and so they have become intimately aware of the technical debt that they already have. And so the idea that they would say, like, yes, we would also support a native Mac client, that's not just we compile it on a different engine. That means that you have to have, I presume, ongoing development support that knows how to work in native Mac in some way. Not just, it's not just somebody's secondary job, I would assume. You would want a dedicated support team.
Also, I want to correct something. I called Wine emulator, and it's exactly not an emulator. Wine is not emulator, and that's basically recursive titling, which is what Unix does, right? They recursive title everything. So Wine is not an emulator.
Yes, Wine stands for Wine is not an emulator, and I think I called it an emulator to be coy to them. But
was it me? Oh, okay,
so
that's fine.
I'll take credit.
Take the bullet. Take the bullet.
Either way, so the point is that this plus a lot of the other things that we've seen, like CCP's really been staffing up in the last year. Since the acquisition from Pearl Abyss, we've seen several significant acquisitions for the community team. We've seen more lore writers be brought on staff. I believe that we've had development efforts staffed up. So, this is the kind of thing that that the old CCP, before they were bought out, just simply didn't have the resources to take on in a very real way. And clearly, success is thy proof. It's ready for testing. This isn't like them saying that they're going to do it in a year. They've been working on this. And I think that speaks to a lot of the efforts that they've been doing recently.
I've got a little surprise. This surprised me just now, but I'm going to show this on screen. I want you to look at this. It's really cool. Read what that says there, guys. And this is from Manixar, who's part of TIS, as you can see. He's actually the guy that started this show with me on the US time zone, the Daily Show. And Manixar basically put this in Talking in Station's CCP Please channel, and it got a bunch of upvotes, as you can see, 36 upvotes. And he writes, add Siblix jump gates to the set destination calculation. So there you have it. Manic will take credit for that one since it was so popular here. I'm sure it's been wanted before, but that's pretty cool.
Nice. Okay, so thankfully, oh man, yeah, one of our viewers pointed out what it is. So this up here in the top corner is your selected item box. And so right now I have my Absterothi, but if I had a ship selected, then presumably I'd be able to drag out of here, link it. I need to go find a ship. Where would people be right now? I'll figure it out. In the meantime, we'll move on. We'll get back to that.
All right.
Oh, MP Ocelot. There you go. Thank you for that, MP Ocelot. So this is the selected item window. What he's saying is that it's easier to drag out of there. Like if a Logi is trying to specify or what's going on. Wait, how does that work? In Logi Wings, sometimes you want to link a ship on grid. But how does that work to now? That's what I'm so confused about. Like, what is the difference? What is it supposed to do?
MP.
Because I can't link somebody's fit that if it's not my ship. I don't know somebody else's fit. I'm still confused. I'll get this, and if I don't have it figured out if it hasn't been figured out or talked about till Friday, I will. I'll make sure to figure it out and bring it to you guys.
All right. So in the, I think we got one other thing to talk about today. In the Things Go Boom category, there was an interesting kill mail going around where an Ares was moving a whole lot of blueprints around and unfortunately got caught. And his 36 billion worth of BPs, well, a lot of them went kaboom. So unfortunate for him. It was an Aries. Yeah.
That's the second blueprint collection we've seen destroyed in the last few days.
Yes. Yeah. People moving things around, maybe because of the industry changes, or who knows what. Or just redistribution of moving things around. Maybe hard to say.
Decided to be generous.
Yeah. So here's Matterall's going to link it, show you. Unfortunately for this guy, I was going to mention his name, but he's in the Lord of Worlds Alliance. It's Narek 1735.
Ouch,
And
that hurts.
Yeah, 36 billion in blueprints. There's a lot in there. It's he's got lots and lots of them.
Not done yet.
Nope, bit further. There you go.
Well, he is lucky because there was a guy in a jump freighter, actually, I think, that lost 100 billion in blueprints. So
yeah,
you're not.
I don't think I'd feel too lucky. I don't think I'd feel too lucky if I lost 36 billion, but yeah, at least I guess you could think it's not 100.
Well, we're adding to his misery, but we're letting him know he's not alone.
No, he's not alone. That's right. All right. And in war news, I think a couple Delve Keep Stars, a couple more timers. Imperium has been chewing down some additional Pappy stuff, so losses are mounting on both sides. Both sides are just picking targets where they can. The campaign in Delve is where Pappy is still focusing, and the Imperium is focusing on counterpunching in areas to the east of Delve, and lots of things being lost. And what do you got there, Matterall?
This looks like something that went down. Let's see.
I'd also like to circle back on that Aries again, actually.
You want to go back to
because there are two things that I want to point. I want to point out two things to people about, like, don't do this, kids. So there's two things that really stand out to me on this fit. I had to double check some things. First of all, this is well. Hold on. No, this is correct. So this interceptor is immune to interdiction spheres. So his plan is to be able to use this super quick. He doesn't have a Covert Ops cloak because it's interceptor or whatever, so he's not going to cloak. He's going to zip off, and it doesn't matter if you have a bubble, he's going to get away with it. But the thing that went wrong here is that even if I turn off my Oracle Warp Drive, my align time is 2.58. And if your align time is above 2, even 2.00, that means it is basically anybody who is prepared to will be able to catch you. And so this guy thought that he was safe and just simply was not.
Yeah, you need a sub. I'm actually confused about this. You need a sub to, what is it? Sub 2 second warp align, basically. And you need to,
yes.
Here's the thing about it, though. Even if you have a 1.9, doesn't it round up to 2? And can't you be caught?
No, it's 1.99 is 1. And then 2 is, 1.99 is 2, and then 2.0 is 3.
So there's no rounding. Oh, I see what you're saying. So
everything rounds up to the next second.
Right.
Everything rounds up, but 2 seconds, you're home free. Because I think I got caught with less than a 2 second. In fact, I'm sure I got caught with less than a 2 second. Because all my frigates or camera ships are less than 2. And I got plucked and destroyed.
I think you can still get caught if people are, if there's a giant fleet set up and they have remote sensor boosters and stuff. But it's a scale of fleet that is, you're still rolling dice. Everything you do in Eve, you roll the dice, right?
It's just that I think if we advise people that if you get less than 2 seconds, you're home free.
Yeah, you got. I was going to jump in.
Right.
Yeah, that is why I did not say that.
No, yeah. I said that. My bad.
Yeah, basically, if you have sub 2 second, it's, as we've learned actually just within the last couple of months, sub 2 second doesn't make you safe. Above 2 second makes you extremely vulnerable. That's the difference.
Yeah,
that's the right way to put it.
I think we could point it out this way: that if if a guy is working alone, it's going to be very difficult for him to catch a 2 second or less, or let's say 0 to 2. What is it?
time. Align time. Yeah.
Align time. But he can still do it if he's helped by a mate that actually boosts his sensors, which makes him lock even faster. And I think that's what caught me. So they basically, he puts an alt there or whatever, right, and boosts his tackling ship. His tackling ship is now lightning fast, like a frog with a giant sticky tongue. I was a fly, I'm dead and eaten. But if somebody's working alone, then you're probably a lot safer with less than 2. I think we thoroughly confuse people.
If you're at sub 2, it takes a lot of work for people to catch you. Yeah, but if you're above 2 second, basically the rule of thumb is if you're above 2 second, you need to expect people to be able to lock you. Like anybody, there's no concern about server tick. There's no nothing. If you are highly CBO'd, if you're good at locking people, you can lock somebody with 2.0.
Yep.
2.0, it's much harder to hit. So you're never 100% safe.
Yeah. And
but if you're at above 2.0, you're getting caught.
And none of this matters if you run into a couple smart bombing battleships sitting on a gate. So,
that's the other half of it.
Exactly. Right. There's all sorts of risk, right? So nothing is safe in Eve if you're new to this game. Don't take it otherwise.
By the way, remember they talk about the closer you are to the server, the faster you're ping, therefore the faster your reaction time, and there's some kind of built-in advantage to being in London as opposed to California where I live. So I might have been picked off because the internet tripped me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That goes back to what we were saying earlier about unlocking, right? Like there's a difference between like on paper how things work and in the muddy actually gameplay. Like you're loading a new grid, you might hang, you might double, like anything can go wrong.
You might be in space trying to get to the next gate with your left hand. Your left hand could be busy. You could be trying to do this only with your right hand. You never know, right?
My God.
It could be all sorts of problems happening.
That's right. By the way, Hateless Gaming actually spent a good amount of time theory crafting this, and you should actually ask Hateless Gaming. He's in chat now. He can tell you all about it, but he definitely was able to theory craft this to death and really pinpointed some of the evasive maneuvers that we're talking about here with fast ships aligning right off the gate and getting away or not getting away. So let's kick that question to him. Maybe we'll ask him again Sunday.
Hateless and Fonsui, both of which are in chat, are actually 2 great examples of our kind of Eve scientists that, people who look at what we teach about the game and ask, well, why do we feel that way? What do we know about it? What are the extremes? Why do we think that? What's actually true? And rather than just sit around and talk about it all day, he'll go out and test it. And that's one of the things I really respect about both of them, really. But Hateless does it on stream, so it's a good time.
Both guys are actually part of Talking in Station's subject matter expert think tank. So they're usually around. You can ask them.
And if you want to talk to them or anybody else,
TIS Discord.
Yeah, and if you want to talk to them or anybody else, we can go to the TIS Discord. We're just talking all over each other. Shoot,
it's lag.
That too. No, for real though, we do have one of the larger Eve communities. We like to make it a place for anybody who wants to come in and respectfully tell their opinions, views, perceptions, thoughts, knowledge, or experience with Eve Online. I'd love to hear it, and I'm sure there'll be thousands of other people within Discord there too. So you should check it out.
All right.
And on that note, do we have anything else today? We talked about some stuff blowing up. Do we have anything else?
That's it.
Gregorian, are you still here?
What's that? No, he left.
He took off. Okay.
Trash talk.
A little something going on in Solitude. We'll talk about it tomorrow when we get to the bottom of it. Oh, that's funny. So Racer2K5X says, let's get the TIS Discord to level 3 for their 5-year anniversary. Thanks for that. That's nice of you to think that way on Discord. If you do want to help Talking in Stations, you could do it that way, or you can join our Patreon. It is patreon.com/Matterall. or you can subscribe here on Twitch. And those are the ways that you can help out.
And YouTube. We've been posting. We post all of our content, all of our videos. All of our streams get posted over on Twitch or on YouTube, and then we also post our other videos too.
We should actually open up a subscriber tier on YouTube and maybe do some special stuff for our subscribers on YouTube. I think there's a whole thing now that you can do on YouTube. We're not very crafty at monetization, but we should look into that.
Also, the term subscribe doesn't mean the same thing on
each one, right?
Subscribe in YouTube would be the equivalent of follow here. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Asking somebody to say, yeah.
Is there anything else, Absterothi?
Just about covers it for the day, unless there's something else that went boom. That's all of the patch notes and everything. And we'll hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to follow up to see what kind of fixes, if anything. And then, of course, I hopefully will be back on Friday to talk about the weekend. But until then, I think that's good for the day.
What about you, Rundle? Do you have anything else?
No, I think I'm good. I'm not done talking tonight, so I'm going to head off to Trash Talk Tuesday here in a moment.
Trash Talk Tuesday.
Yeah,
all right.
Yell at some people.
Well, we're gonna send the crowd over to follow you specifically at Trash Talk Tuesday. They get more Eve talk show stuff. One last thing. Last time the three of us were in the same room, I was going to shiv them both with my convict shirt on, and I just want to say sorry. But also, I think we came up with, and I've heard this before. Absterothi has brought it up before, that talking in stations should be considered something like, because we ask ourselves, are we news or are we commentary? Are we both? What are we? We're like sportscasters, right? There's some news in sportscasting, but there's also interpretation and strategy and unraveling the deeper game. That's what we're doing. So talking in stations, kind of like your
Eve pundits.
Yeah.
Is the term.
I'm not here to say that one team is better than the other, one team's strategy is better than the other, one team's whatever is more effective than the other. I just want to celebrate everything that's happening in EVE Online and bring it to you guys and put it into context for my fellow Imperium.
There's only one CCP convict, and he's right there in the audience.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Nice.
I just had the convict shirt on. That was an allusion to you and respect to the great CCP convict.
Yeah, I'm going to get a "Come at me, bro" t-shirt from Adderall.
Yeah. I made an Aussie joke. It is true.
All right. Thank you, guys. Absterothi, thanks for helping us out. Rundle, thank you for all the work. And thank you guys for watching Talking in Stations. We'll be back tomorrow. We have some great stuff lined up. Tomorrow, we're going to talk to a guy that does an industrial tool that you will want to see. His name is Revendal, and he's done some graphic work on it. So you can actually see a graphic in real time of the combinations of things you'll have to build in order to build ships. That'll help you out a lot. So we'll see what that looks like tomorrow. And then later in the week, Thursday, we're probably going to talk to a new player named Gory. I think they call him Mustachio because he's got that mustache.
Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, Thursday or Friday. And then Friday we'll have even more stuff with Absterothi. So we'll work all that out and see you later on in the week on Talking in Stations.
Reacting.